The twin suns cast an unforgiving glare across the cracked red earth of Arena 9, a stretch of alien wilderness designed by the Galactic Council to strip contestants down to their purest instincts. No gear, no tech, no second chances. A chime rang out, signaling the start of the survival round. 12 beings stood scattered in a loose ring, each representing a dominant species from a different sector. Some shimmered with psionic energy, others loomed with muscle and scales, but all eyed each other warily, except one. The human stood barefoot, hands on his hips, looking up at the sky with a squint and a smirk. Just one of them, smaller, less colorful, and oddly relaxed. No glowing eyes, no cybernetic limbs, no weaponized pheromones. Just cargo pants, a faded t-shirt, and a face that didn't seem to understand fear. To his left, a photosynthetic Slarn unfurled its biopanel fronds and immediately rooted itself into the ground. Sunlight intake optimal, it announced to no one in particular. To his right, a towering Groth pounded its chest, already sniffing the air for something to hunt. Others scattered in different directions, digging, meditating, dissolving into puddles to hide. The human? He crouched and picked up a stick. High above, in the observation deck cloaked in shimmering light, the commentators whispered into their galactic feeds. Curious choice from the human. He appears to be playing with debris? Perhaps it's ritualistic. Or perhaps he's accepted death. On the ground, it didn't take long for things to fall apart. By the third hour, the Vralti twins, telepathic, codependent, had curled into fetal positions, overwhelmed by the psychic noise of undistilled nature. The silence was too loud. The insects too chaotic. By the 6th hour, the Groth was limping, one eye swollen shut from a misjudged scuffle with a horned lizard that turned out to be venomous. Its thick hide offered no protection from bacteria. It didn't help that it had used swamp water to wash its wounds. By nightfall, 3 contestants were dead. The human had built a lean-to out of sticks and fronds. He had also managed to start a small fire using a method no alien recognized: friction, rubbing wood together until it got angry enough to burn. A low, flickering flame crackled beside him as he sat cross-legged, slowly chewing something he'd boiled for safety. Mushrooms, possibly. Or bark. The smoke curled into the air like a flag, a declaration. "I believe he's using the fire as a deterrent," one commentator whispered. Deterrent against what? Everything. An ethereal shimmer of wings signaled the approach of a Draxan contestant, attempting diplomacy. She hovered just outside the reach of the firelight, eyes narrowed. "You've chosen a vulnerable position, biped," she said in high basic. "Your light draws predators." The human didn't look up. "So does bleeding. You planning to change that?" She hesitated, then hissed, and zipped off into the dark. The fire crackled. The man added another stick. By morning, the Slarn had withered under an unexpected temperature drop. The Groth had infected itself by using a bone shard as a blade. One of the Vralti twins wandered into the human's clearing before collapsing, wide-eyed and shaking. The human crouched beside him, offered water. The twin tried to speak, then shivered once and died. No one came for the body. By the second day, the difference was obvious. While others suffered from infection, hunger, and disorientation, the human was thriving. Not flourishing, exactly, but steady, purposeful. He moved like a man on a camping trip, gathering, tying things together, testing soil with his fingers, sniffing leaves, discarding them, then collecting others. "What is he doing?" the lead commentator asked, irritation growing. "There is no technology, no tools, no enhancements, yet he's adapting." "Not adapting," a Zalari observer said. "He's remembering." The next night, 2 competitors tried to steal fire from the human. One was a vaporous being, the other a crystalline stalkwalker with no mouth. Neither understood combustion. They ran. One caught fire. The other simply evaporated in fear. The human didn't chase. He just watched the tree lean, then place more wood on the fire. Above, the Galactic Council's chief judge frowned. "Should we intervene?" "Why?" another asked, almost amused. "He's not cheating." No, the judge muttered. He's winning. On the third morning, a rainstorm swept the arena. Shelters collapsed. Competitors screamed as acid touched rain-blistered skin. The human's lean-to sagged but held. He crouched inside, a ring of mud and ash around the base, redirecting the water away. He caught some in a hollowed gourd, studied it, sniffed, then sipped. Just a little. The storm passed. The sun returned. 6 contestants remained. The human emerged, face streaked with ash, hair damp, but his eyes sharp and scanning. He whistled softly, mimicking a bird call, and began rearranging stones near his fire. From the trees, 2 remaining contestants watched him. One was shaking, barely able to stand. The other, a stone-skinned giant, whispered, "He's not surviving. He's preparing." For what? For the next round. They turned and fled into the woods. The human didn't chase them. He just smiled and went back to stirring something in a clay bowl of his own making. Far above, the council watched in silence. The human was not waiting for rescue. He was building his world, one that smelled faintly of smoke and soap. She stood at the edge of his firelight, silent and still, watching him stir something thick and dark in a clay bowl. Her leg had mostly healed. She moved with a limp, but she moved. The other contestants were gone now, devoured, dissolved, or simply surrendered to exhaustion. Only 2 remained. Her. And him. He didn't look up when he spoke. "Careful. That log snaps when it heats. Last one startled a bird into my cookpot." She stepped closer anyway, her segmented eyes narrowing on the oily mixture bubbling in the bowl. "What is that?" He scraped the sides, lifted the spoon, just a carved stick, and gave it a sniff. "Soap. Better batch this time. Less lie burn." She blinked slowly. "You're still improving it?" He shrugged. "Better soap means fewer infections. Fewer infections means better sleep. Better sleep means I don't hallucinate and try to wrestle a spike bear. It's a system." She sat across the fire from him, bones creaking as she folded herself down. "You could have killed me." "I could have. You should have." He glanced up. "Probably." She said nothing for a while. The fire popped. Somewhere in the trees, a predator howled and was answered by silence. The jungle was quieter now. Fewer contestants. Less panic. Just 2 humans, 1 native, 1 alien, waiting. "Why did you help me?" she finally asked. He leaned back on his hands, staring at the stars. "I didn't help you. I fixed a problem. A dying thing near my camp is a danger. Draws predators. Infects water. Makes noise. Cleaning you up was easier." "You're lying." He smiled faintly. "Probably." Silence stretched again, but this time it was comfortable. She watched him work, molding, adjusting, laying out traps in his mind even when sitting still. She understood it now. He wasn't trying to survive. He was conquering, not through force, but through certainty. He belonged here, not because the jungle accepted him, but because he made it irrelevant. Nature threw poison, fire, hunger, and loneliness at him, and he answered with soap, with fire, with routine. She had clawed for every breath. He had turned breathing into ritual. "What happens when it's down to just us?" she asked quietly. He set the bowl aside, rubbing his hands clean on a strip of bark. "Same thing that always happens. Either we fight or we don't." "That's not an answer." He looked at her now, eyes calm. "I came here to see if I could do it. Nothing more. I didn't care about winning. But now that it's down to you and me." She waited. "I think we both know how this ends." She exhaled slowly. "I won't kill you. Didn't say you would. So, you'll let me win?" He stood and stretched, bones cracking. "I'll survive. What the judges call winning is their problem." Far above, the judges leaned forward in their translucent chairs. Their feeds glowed with galactic commentary, translating millions of languages, whispering the same stunned phrase, "He's letting her live." One counselor hissed, "He refuses to eliminate her. That's disqualifying." Another shook their mantle. "There is no clause requiring lethal victory." "Then what do we do?" The feed cut to a wide-angle shot, A human walking into the dark with his tools, his soap, and his fire. An alien woman sitting alone, staring at his place in the world. The broadcast ended. Later, they would try to name what he did: mercy, dominance, control. They would argue over rules, question his motives, dissect his methods. But none of that mattered. Because in a game where all technology was stripped away, he had rebuilt civilization from sweat and stubbornness. She remained at the camp, fire flickering in her eyes, one question twisting in her chest like a live wire. Had he spared her because he cared? Or because he'd already won? The extraction ship descended in a thunder of displaced air and scorching heat, its sleek metal belly carving a shallow crater in the jungle floor. The firelight died as the downdraft scattered ash and embers. Above it all, the human stood, arms crossed, face unreadable as the final verdict was delivered. He had not spoken since the council announced the results, a shared victory. Technically unprecedented, logistically inconvenient, politically explosive. The alien woman stood beside him, body wrapped in palm fiber cloth he'd shown her how to braid. She kept her gaze forward, but tension coiled beneath her skin. Neither of them had asked for this resolution. It was like most rulings from the Galactic Council, a compromise no one liked and everyone had to live with. A ramp hissed open. 2 escorts descended, one for each victor. They were identical, tall, armored, bureaucratic. The human didn't move. His escort spoke first. "You are to be decontaminated, debriefed, and delivered to the broadcast dome for the victory session." He blinked. "I built soap and boiled water. You can keep your deck and pod." The escort tilted its head. "That is not a request." The woman stepped slightly forward. "He'll comply." Her voice was smooth but tight, like a blade not yet unsheathed. He looked sideways at her. "Will I?" "You will if you want to keep rewriting the game." He considered this, then exhaled through his nose and stepped onto the ramp without further protest. Inside, the walls were bright white and humming with soft frequencies meant to soothe nerves. They didn't work. The alien woman sat opposite him, her eyes studying the room's geometry like she expected it to collapse inward. A screen flickered on, showing split feeds: their victory camp, the corpse-littered jungle, the glowing metrics of survival time, resource use, biome adaptation. The data all pointed to one conclusion. The human had not just won. He had changed the game. Across the galaxy, species were already dissecting his methods. Fire by friction, soap chemistry, shelter thermodynamics. Every survival school from Scanth to Veltor Prime was updating their curriculum. Not with new tech, but with human memory. The council's voice filled the chamber. Smooth, genderless, dispassionate. Contestant 7 human. Contestant 02 Valari. You are now declared co-winners of the Non-Technological Survival Protocol Challenge. Your footage will be archived as a galactic standard. Your methods will be taught as procedural options in emergencies. Neither spoke. The voice continued. However, Contestant 07, the council must address a concern. The human raised an eyebrow. Only one. You refuse to eliminate the final contestant. In most iterations, victory is secured by sole survival. He leaned forward. I didn't refuse. I just didn't need to. You didn't say I had to kill anyone. You said survive without technology. Silence. Then, your technical correctness is inconvenient. Story of my species, he muttered. The woman beside him spoke up. He's not a problem. He's proof. The screen shifted to show her injuries, her near-death stats. He gave me time to recover. No drugs. No machines. Just fire and soap. He showed that survival isn't about dominance. The human coughed lightly. Not just dominance. She ignored him. It's about systems. Predictability. Patterns. He created order where we flailed in chaos. You speak as if you're a student, the council said. She looked directly at the camera. I am. There was a beat of static. Very well, the voice said. Your testimonies are logged. Return to your quarters. The screen blinked off. The doors hissed open. They walked in silence through polished corridors lined with people who wouldn't meet their eyes. Back in his assigned room, the human found a data pad waiting for him. It contained thousands of messages, offers, requests, accusations. Some hailed him as a genius. Others called him a cheat. He scrolled past them all and instead opened the message from Earth. It was from his sister. Just 2 lines. You always said Boy Scouts were useless. Guess you showed the galaxy. Mom's making soap now. You've started a trend. He smiled, then stopped. Because this wasn't the end. He had disrupted an ancient system, but systems adapt. The next arena wouldn't be built the same. It would have variables adjusted, dangers tweaked, outcomes biased. They would account for him next time. He leaned back on the bench, hands behind his head. Good, he said aloud. Let them prepare. He'd already started.